All right. I hope this works now. It's just it's been a weird night. I just trying to see here if it works. I kind of figured that yeah, hi again. Yeah, we're here. I don't know what it is. I think I saw so YouTube apparently I set up the RTMP, but it OBS automatically defaults to RTMPS now. And it doesn't seem to like it when you don't have RTMPS set up in the stream key. So let's see how that works. And I think there's probably echo, which I shall kill. And this is the proper mic, okay? And I want to, let me see now, audio, monitoring device. This is Iowa Air, okay? And I trust you guys can hear me. Right? Okay. So we'll do it. Yeah, sorry after a rough start tonight, guys. So anyway, welcome to Live with Ria, and I am Ria, and to RJ, your ham radio operator and contester. Well, ham radio contester, same thing. And we do this show on Sundays. I try to do it on Sundays when I can. Last week, I was took a break because I visited my mom down in Florida. My aunt, she ended up passing away, and it was very sad for us because she is the one who brought us to America, and she sponsored us to come to America, and we're very grateful to her for that. So it's very sad to see her go. My uncle, who's a Air Force veteran, they lived in California, near the Beale Air Force Base, and it was kind of it was really sad for him too, of course. So but in Florida, I made one video, of course. I went to the nearby Veterans Memorial Park in Deltona, Florida, which is where my mom lives in Deltona, Florida, not too far from there. And she kind of, she's very upset and stuff right now, but life goes on, and so do we. So I do appreciate all the kind words, and I definitely think that it's a good time for healing. Alrighty, let's see here. Yeah, keyframes a frequency of 4 seconds or less. There's such more manual things to adjust in OBS, and the irony is, well, not the irony, just the let's see. YouTube wants a keyframe interval of 4 seconds. I used to have this set up in church where I did a live stream in church, and it kind of just I just didn't configure it. I actually had a Windows instance I used for my OBS, and I just kind of didn't. I just neglected the Mac one. So anyway, so tonight we're talking about contesting, and contesting is one of my favorite activities in amateur radio. And thank you, AJK, and that's really nice of you to say. So, but I believe it takes all kind of people to make this country great, and I'm proud to be part of this country. I became a citizen in 2008, I believe it was, and no, 2007, actually. Yeah, and we had the ceremony in Newark. It was pretty good. So, all right, so tonight we're going to talk about improving your contest skills, and I'm going to give you 10 tips. The world of contesting is really, really large. I can't convey it all tonight. I'm hoping to have some more. And of course, this is an open forum Q&A. You can go and do what you need. You can basically ask what you want. I'll try to answer. So the first thing is, what exactly is contesting, right? So the idea of contesting is to make as many contacts with as many places, in a nutshell. Contests originated with the first original transatlantic tests. So when hams were given frequencies, and hams were experimenting with long distance communication. So back in the early days with Hiram Percy Maxim and such like that, they did a lot of Todd, that's very nice, Todd. Thank you. Yeah, my aunt, she kind of just, she sponsored us all. So the yeah, so contesting, you're basically making as many contacts in many places, and the original transit line tests were the genesis of contesting. So you find that amateurs now basically made this whole thing into a competition. The early days with Hiram Percy Maxim were where they did a lot of very local communications, right? And by local, I mean like literally, Hiram Maxim he sent a message somewhere, and he had his friend in Windsor relay it for him. So he was like in Hartford, I think it was. And then he had friends right in Connecticut relay messages, and eventually they had people relaying messages all over the country, which is why you have the American Radio Relay League. Okay, now you know where it comes from, right? So, yeah, the ARRL, that was the genesis of the ARRL. And, eventually after the Titanic sank, of course, never let a good crisis go to waste, as they say. Hiram Percy Maxim and such found themselves in the position, and the amateurs found themselves in the position of 200 meters and down. They were basically allowed to use frequencies 200 meters and down, meaning basically 1500 megahertz and above. And then they had to find, they had to make do with that, and eventually they sponsored all sorts of events to have radio amateurs make long distance contacts. So eventually that was the genesis of contesting. Of course, it has evolved over the years, and contesting, oh my gosh, has evolved over the years. Even in the last 10, 15 years, it's evolved. They're not universally loved. Some people think contests are a nuisance, and some people hate them. I think they're absolutely great to improve your skills because you're operating under some of the worst conditions imaginable. You have a lot of QRM. They have like, they really, they're really good to improve your skills on the worst conditions. It can be lots of fun. They can be frustrating sometimes. And a common myth is that contesting is only for the big guns. But the thing is, without the little pistols, without the small stations, contesting wouldn't be half of what it is. Half of the goal the big contesters have is to ensure, to make contacts with people who are, who have basically small stations. So, it's kind of like 6 of one, half does the other, And they have a lot of different modes in contesting. Morse code, CW, single sideband, RTTY. There's also digital, which is, so the FCC actually makes a distinction between RTTY, radio teletype, and data modes, right? So data modes would be like PSK31, FT8, and such like that. And yes, during World War I, hams had to stay off the air, So, yeah. But that's a different story. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on history of ham radio. If you want to avoid contests, because some people hate them, the walk bands by agreement are always contest free. Some contests have a contest free segment where they don't have contests, in that small segment. And a lot of contests, they focus on a particular mode. You can use the other mode. Like, for example, during a CW contest, you can operate on SSB. During an SSB contest, you can operate on CW and data, vice versa. Nearly all contests happen on the weekend, and weekdays are generally contest free as well. Of course, you could never make everyone happy, and I have a lot of people telling me that how contests are the worst thing ever. But, you know what? I think everybody needs to enjoy the bands equally because they're a natural resource, and, we all have the same license, so we all have that. So, DX contests, okay? Your goal in this is to make international contacts, right? And types of contests like this are CQ Worldwide, CQWPX, ARRLDX, the Russian DX contest, etc. During domestic contests, you can make contacts within the USA or your country. And these would be like the sweepstakes, which are coming up, North American CUSO Party, etc. I think generally in-country contests are primarily a U.S. thing because a lot of these other smaller countries, they don't want to restrict their contests. Field day is kind of a contest. I know there's a lot of denialism around the fact that, sorry, I had to use that word, that that field day is not a contest. Field day is a contest. It was envisioned as a contest, but the thing about it is that field day is also an operating event, and field day is a day to get out and have fun and stuff like that. So it's it's a contest and it's not a contest, but it's both. There are elements of both. So enjoy field day. Then you have duration. You have 48-hour contests. So 48 hours, Now, a lot of these contests, they actually allow you to operate less than 48 hours and do a full participation. And they're kind of like, you could operate 36 out of 48 hours. I think WPX is one of those. And some of them some of them, I know WPX is a famous example of a single operator having to operate less than 48 hours. They typically run Friday evening through Sunday evening, U.S. Eastern Time, because let's face it, a lot of these major DX contests are organized by Americans, and thus they are designed to fit within U.S. time frame. Of course, in other parts of the world, they'll probably start on Saturday and end on Monday. Probably I don't know, Japan or something. Some of them, they have 24-hour or 12-hour contests, like the North American CUSO Party, I believe, is 12 hours only. There are some that are 24 hours, so they're shorter contests. You have sprint contests. Sprint contests are usually 1 to 4 hours. And some of them have special frequency change rules. So basically, you can change you're allowed to make one contact on a frequency and then change to another frequency, and you relinquish the frequency. So some of them make people hop around. It's really interesting how they do that. And I actually won a certificate from one of the EU sprint contests back in, it was a long time ago. And I got to kind of like this style of operating. I actually got a shirt from the North American SSB sprint. That was pretty cool. Then you have the CUSO Party. So nearly every U.S. state has a CUSO Party. And it's a contest where you make contacts with a particular state. So, for example, we have the New Jersey CUSO Party here. I believe it's in September. And, we call other states and other states call us, And we give the exchange being our county, and the other people, other states give their state. So I would be like Sussex County or Passaic County or Morris County, depending on where I am. I do actually operate from more than one place, but my home base is in Sussex County. Beautiful Sussex County, by the way. Other places, they will have abbreviations and such like that. And some CUSO parties are really, really interesting. Like, for example, the Washington State CUSO Party is called the Salmon Run, okay? And the Salmon Run, they basically send you some smoked salmon if you win, And I find that kind of funny. I didn't win smoked salmon, but I hope to. But they have that as a prize, right? Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to find a page. Washington State CUSO Party. So they try to make this interesting. I believe the Kansas CUSO Party, salmonrun.w. Okay, yeah, they're gone. So some states, like for example Kansas, had one where you spell sunflower and you get something. So they try to make these interesting. New Jersey, we just give a tiny plaque with the New Jersey Devil on it. So the Jersey Devil, who lives in the Pinelands or something, New York and California and such have different CUSA parties. California has a real interesting CUSA party. They have a ladies category and such like that too. They're pretty cool. And so yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Great way to worked all states. And then there are regional CUSA parties. New England CUSA parties one. The seventh call area has a CUSA party, so that state's going all the way down Arizona, Nevada, and then all the way up to Washington and Idaho, I believe. Yeah, Idaho's seven, right? Yeah, so the seventh call area, really nice. We used to have a Mid Atlantic CUSO party, but I think just due to lack of people organizing, it kind of fell off. So it's CUSO parties are fun. And then we're talking only about HF contests, so we'll cover VHF separately. And even if you aren't in the contest, you can fill up your logbook with contacts easily. So if your goal is to kill some time on a radio, contest can get that for you. You can work on awards like DXCC and WAS Award. And contesters, they usually upload to Logbook of the World, QRZ, EQSL, because a lot of them want you in the log. And they will do whatever it takes to keep you happy. And they know a lot of people like to work these contests just to get contacts for their awards. So they make it very easy to QSL them. It's great practice for operating under heavy QRM and listening to weak signals. Not everybody's going to be 5'9", okay? Even though everybody says they're 5'9", they're not really going to be 5'9". But you have to hear them. You have to learn to pick them out. And you have to be quick on your feet, or quick on the microphone, or quick on the key. Because it is really, it's brutal. It's a challenge, Yeah, Oregon's also in the seventh call area. That's very true. Okay. Let me see here. I have a comments module here that I can use. Let me see. Does that work? But anyway, right. So, contest. This is my antenna, by the way. Bigger is generally better, but it's not necessary. Okay, you don't have to have the biggest station on the block, and basically you don't need to have a cannon. Okay, you can have, you can make the most of what you have. I operated some of my first contests from mobile, and I had a lot of fun. One of my favorite contests is the IARU contest, right? And they give you a certificate for making 250 contacts. So if you make 250 contacts, regardless of whether you win or not, they'll send you a certificate. And I found that's pretty cool. So let's get into the tips. First tips is read the rules, okay? There's a Jamaican movie called Third World Cop, right? It's a really corny Jamaican movie where this guy going it's stereotypical drug raid, this police officer, and is if you ever watch it, it's just so horrible, but it's cool. Trinidad made a movie called Men of Grey because the police officers there wear gray uniforms, and it's kind of like Men of Grey was an interesting movie, but the Third World Cop was just so corny. But the thing is, there was one famous line that always burned in my mind. There was one guy who was there was like a home invasion in his house, and then these gangsters or whoever came and they were shooting all over the place, and then this guy came up and he shot back, and this guy was having trouble with his pistol, and then when he got he cleaned them out, basically they were shot dead. He said, "Read the manual, idiot." It's like such a Jamaican thing, but yeah. So so you want to learn to read the rules ahead of time to learn the exchange. You want to learn who you could contact, because not all contests allow you to contact everybody, right? Some of them will say DX to DX only. Some will say all stations, like the ARRL DX contest, everybody has to contact the United States. And there are other little nuances, like some of them had prohibitions on live streaming contests, although, and we did a lot of work at the ARRL on this to, we're allowing live streaming in contests now. CQ has a special category for it, and I believe ARRL has some rule adjustments to allow live streaming, so you can live stream your contest. And then you learn about the categories, because the categories are important, as we'll see next. That brings us to our second tip. Categories. Choose your category wisely, okay? So there are several types of categories. They're usually like the single operator, right? If you're operating by yourself, you're a single operator. Then you have single band categories, right? Like you can operate all the bands on the contest, and when we mean all the bands, we mean all the HF bands. Like 160, 160 is a medium frequency band. 160 through 10 meters, right? Of course, excluding the walk bands because they're contest free. You choose your category wisely. You choose it before the contest, and you make sure you don't choose it afterward, because it's considered bad form. It's actually kind of borderline cheating, to be honest. But so yeah. So it's pretty it's pretty good, important to choose your category. Let me see here. Okay, good. Right. And assisted is important, because a lot of contests now, they have separate categories for assisted, where if you use the DX cluster, you have to stay in an assisted category. If you go without the DX cluster, you have to go into a you can go in a non-assisted category. And if you use multi-channel decoding software like CW Skimmer, which basically scans, it feeds in the whole band using an SDR, software defined radio, and then spits out call signs. So you can decode all the call signs on a band. That's considered to be assistance for some odd reason. So they tell you go in assisted category in that. The single op, single band categories are generally less competitive. I find that for DX contests, a lot of stations that generally don't have a shot in the all band categories, that the big guns win. You find that they will try their hand at the at the single band categories, and that will generally help. So let's see here. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I know some like ops on the West Coast. Generally they don't do well in the DX contests. That focus mainly, let's face it, if you're not able to run Europe to make a lot of contacts with Europe, you're going to have a problem being competitive, right? So because on the West Coast, usually most of your contacts are going to be with Japan, Hawaii, Russia, and probably Australia, New Zealand. And whereas on the East Coast, you have a lot more hams in Europe, because Europe has a lot more contesters than some of those countries in Asia. So you generally, if you operate a single band, you have less competition, so you can make out a little better. So the third tip is know your propagation. You will live and die by propagation. I can tell you that. If you do not know when the band opens and closes at your location, you will be flying blind. And I was given this tip by none other than K3LR. So Tim, he's basically said, you can accurately measure propagation at your station using something called Whisper, right? So Whisper is basically a digital mode software that will kind of like do propagation beacons and such like that. And it uses basically JT mode, with Whisper, which is like a Joe Taylor mode. That will they will use that to measure propagation. There's an outfit called Soda Beams, and it's available at some of these local stores. I think DX Engineering sells them. The Whisper Light, uh, Whisper transmitter and receiver. You can test out your antenna. So you hook this up to your antennas and you let it run, right? Of course, you follow all rules as a control operator. And you look, there's a software called D Explorer, I believe it is, and it'll tell you when the band opens and closes. So it's pretty cool. Look out for the solar propagation forecast. And I have to I have to tell you that if you really want to do a deep dive into solar space weather and such like that and propagation, watch Dr. Tamitha Scove. Dr. T is great. She has her own channel. She has a really, really nice channel. She has a lot of stuff going on there. So if you watch Dr. T's videos, you'll know everything that's going on in propagation. She's really nice. Okay, let's see here. When you're operating, right, you want to try the highest open band. When the rate drops, you go down lower. So I'll tell you what rate is in a minute, but the highest open band, you want to try to maximize your contacts on the highest open band. There's a good reason for that. The higher bands tend to have more room and everybody's more spread out, right? But the way propagation works is that your opportunity to make contacts on them is very limited. So what you want to do is, let's say 10 meters is open, right? You should go on 10, work everything that's there, right? And then when you're done with that, drop down to like 15 meters, right? 21 megahertz. And then when you work that down, you go back down to 20. Because 10 meters is always going to be open in shorter time than 15, and 15 is going to be open in shorter time than 20. This way, yet these bands are wide enough that people can space out and not interfere with each other. So once you get these contacts in your log, you took advantage of that limited opportunity, and then you could go back down to 20 meters where everything is plentiful all the time. I mean, you'll pretty much always hear stuff on 20 meters, unless it's like, late at night and 20 meters completely shut. But yeah, so you maximize that. And this is something I'll explain later on. So the rate, right? The rate basically means how many contacts per hour you're making. And, it's basically you live and die by the rate. Okay. Don't get into pileups. I know this is counterintuitive, right? Unless you're a really big gun, you have a loud station, you're going to be wasting a lot of time just trying to work a station that everybody else is trying to work. Go try a few times, right? And if you don't succeed, just go and make some other contacts and come back later, nibble at it later. Because what happens is when this rare station pops up, you'll find that all of the big guns will work them, and they will be stepping all over each other to try to get this station, to make contact with the station, right? They'll be stepping all over each other. Meanwhile, you're a little pistol, you just go somewhere else, and then you come back, the big guns already fought it out, they got them in the log, and then you have this rare station that previously had a pileup. Now they're begging you to make contact, and then you just go and you get them in the log easily. Of course, that's not a universal rule. Sometimes these guys just come on the air for short times, but that's the game. I mean, you're always better off maximizing your contacts rather than chasing one station. So this is something I learned from my friend Peter, W2IRT. So it's a pretty good tip. Next tip is to learn your receiver. So you can't hear him if you can't work him. That's cliche, but it's kind of an important one. Your RF gain knob isn't designed to stay all the way clockwise, okay? You'll find that at lower settings, your receiver is not overloaded by strong signals, and when you lower the RF gain, you actually lower noise too. You'll find sometimes that you're able to pick out weak or buried signals, okay, from the noise. Don't use preamps on HF, right? Preamplifiers, that setting on your radio that says preamp, you really shouldn't be using them because they don't really do anything for you. Except maybe on the higher bands, 10 meters, 6 meters. I use preamps on 6 meters all the time. because sometimes you need them there. But on the lower ones, I just skip it, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sixth tip. If you can run, right? So running means you just sit on a frequency and you call CQ and you put contacts in your log, you know? If you can do it, then yeah, that's good. So the prime time for propagation, the big gun stations are always going to be, they're basically going to be ruling the roost at that time, and there's probably no room for you to run as a smaller station. Later on, though, the room tends to open up. The band, these big gun stations, they pretty much exhausted all the contacts on that band, so they move along. And now there's room that's open up. Here's your chance. You could go and run. You can, sit there, call CQ, make some contacts, and you can definitely fill up your log that way. If you are running, right? If you are CQing, don't give up your production frequency to do a search and pounce. So if you are making contacts, and usually the software will tell you that there's you see like a little bar graph in N1MM where it will, the logging software N1MM, it will tell you, it will turn red when your rate starts to drop. So when it's, when you're just like CQing dead air, then it's time to do search and pounce. Sometimes what happens too is that you might be CQing on a frequency and there's somebody nearby interfering with you, and you wouldn't necessarily hear it on your end, but on the DX end, like for example in Europe from the United States, you will they will not be able to hear you. So you could probably try another frequency in the same band. So the seventh tip: optimize your software workflow. I have my workflow set up. I can, I enter contacts quickly. And then it goes without saying, make sure cat is working. And by cat, I don't mean my, my Thursday night co-host. Okay. Some people saying they're lost to stream. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, make sure cat is working. Cat means computer aided transceiver, where you have the frequency readout being read by a radio. N1MM has a mode called enter sends messages. And one day I want to do a practical demo on how to completely set up N1MM, where you have like your voice messages recorded, and then you call a station, you type in their call sign, you press enter, it'll say your call sign, and then it will move to the next box, and then you enter the exchange, right? And then it will send your exchange when you press enter, and then you just press enter again, it logs. Really, you just keep pressing enter. The keyboard shortcuts are fantastic. You should learn them. Eighth tip: join a contest club. Okay, so joining a contest club is a great way. Not only if you're a contester, but I mean if you're a casual operator and you want to dabble in contesting. Contest clubs, including my club, the Frankfurt Radio Club in Pennsylvania, the Frankfurt Radio Club in Pennsylvania, they're a lot of veteran contesters. I mean, they're some of the winningest contesters in the all of contesting. And before I joined them, I was flying blind. So, they basically gave me a lot of advice, and there's a lot of encouragement and such like that. They even helped me in my station. The main thing that contest clubs do is they take part in the affiliated club competition. So basically what they do is for certain contests, they allow you to pool together your scores. And with that, the club gets entered into competition with other clubs, and the club with the highest aggregate score wins. This can motivate you to make higher scores because the clubs want to win this, and they can't do this without their members. So, clubs are very helpful with this. Ninth tip: try to find a seat at a multi-operator station. Contesting's always better with friends. Clubs usually have space at other stations, right? You might, and you know what? It's an actual good way to contest if you are limited on time, 1, or 2, you don't want to spend a full 48 hours, or 3, you want to learn from some veteran contest operators. So, and then it'll boost your morale because the multi-op team may win. And the 10th tip is never stop learning. There are always things to learn, and I'm going to do a few more of these streams with the various contesting topics, because I know this is something people want to learn. And I can't cover everything tonight, but I'll cover more contesting tips as time goes on. All right, so let me do some Q&A here, and I'll switch to just me. And it goes like this. Okay. And I'm supposed to have a comments module here. Yeah. Okay. And let me see here. Bear with me. This is brand new for me. This I've been using. I actually ditched what you call it, StreamYard, and I went with OBS. So let's see. I'm gonna take your questions. I'm just trying to figure out how to get the comments on the screen, right? So I use this Aaron Parecki live chat overlay. Here we go. Right, live chat overlay, unpacked extension. Okay, and then oh, okay, good. I could pop out chat. All right, here we go. Live stream. You know, it's kind of like see here. I click and pop out chat. And you're probably not seeing what I'm seeing here. Ah, okay. Yes, and then I do let's see here, Aaron PK, and then get overlay URL. Okay. Now you're gonna see something here. So I'm totally not using StreamYard, okay? But I am using this module here, and let's see. K5YVY, you're kind of not late, you know. You're never late here. You can always be part of Team Replay if you want to, you know. But I'm not, you know, I'm not ending stream right now. So let's see here. Comments. There's so much you can learn in the multi. Hey, it worked. All right. All right. Let's see here. Hey, am I late? K5YVY, no, you're not late. So yeah, so I actually got the contest. All right, so the comments. All right, so let me go over some of these. Yeah, sprint contests are fun, right? Yep, they are. And IARU contest back in 2013 when I got my ticket. Yep, I enjoyed the IARU contest. It's my favorite contest, you know. Even though they don't have any plaques or big prizes, they're really cool. And the thing is, it's a very it's a shorter contest. It's 24 hours, so you're not going to exhaust yourself for the 48-hour Ironman event. But it was, kind of like you're just you have 24 hours, and you could enter phone only, CW only, or mixed categories, and a lot of fun. Yeah, Hayden had a live stream contesting. I generally don't live stream too much operating because I feel, I want to teach you guys stuff, but maybe sometime I'll do it. Let's see here. Learn how to use the ionosphere chart. Yeah, the ionosphere, the propagation charts are nice too. Yep, Texas One Flyboy. 100 watts and an 80 to 10 end fed halfway from Northeast Texas, I believe. You didn't play much, but you had lots of fun. All right, let's see here if I am... yeah, there's so much you can learn in the multi. I should learn contesting. Fun. Well, you know what? Yeah, everybody has their hobbies in HF. I actually do rack choose sometimes. I'm on with Dave G0EVY sometimes, although I haven't checked in a long time. What did I wear for Halloween when the kid took the kids out? I don't know. I just wore a mask. I just wore one of these wretched things. Because the thing is, it's like, I really wasn't going to dress up anything. My kids, they really, one of them went as a witch. And then the other one had like a, kind of like a glowing kind of like mask. and the other one she had uh she dressed up like a cat, I think. So, you know, let's see here. Hey, Alan. By the way, Alan is the winner of one of the ARRL Hudson Division Awards, and we're so glad that he's there. If I make contacts in a contest by submitting a log, does that disqualify my QSO for the other station if they submit their log? Good question. So in most contests, no. And here's how it works. In most contests, they generally don't penalize stations for working stations that don't submit a log. Okay, so if you don't submit a log, the contact will still count. I encourage you to submit a log because it helps with log checking. Even if you want to submit it as a check log, because you can send a log as a check log, and the contest organizer will then just use that to check out the logs. There is one notable exception to that rule. And of course, it has to be the Russian DX contest, okay? The Russian DX contest, what they do is that if the other station is not in a log that they receive, you don't get the points. Yeah, they're really, they're really tough about it. I'm telling you. In Russia, contest log you. So, yeah. In Russian DX contest, you need to submit your log. So please, if you take part in any contest, really just submit the log. You just email it, even if it's a check log. So good one, Alan. Alan, that's always appreciated. Let's see here. Does which is preferred, calling CQ or searching? It depends. I mean, generally searching could help you do things like find multipliers. So how contest scoring works is that you generally have a list of contacts that you work, and then for unique contacts, like for example for each country that you make contact with, you end up multiplying by the number of countries. So let's say I worked 500 contacts and I work, let's say, 150 countries, right? So I'll have the points from those 500 contacts multiplied by the number of countries. And some of them are all different. Some of them give you different scores by continent, etc., etc. Some of them have double mults for, things like CQ zone and such like that. So, yeah, so different things. Yeah. Let's see. Does POTUS soda lend itself to contesting? You know what? It's a different skill set. Some people like to do both. I don't think they're necessarily the same thing. But if you know how to operate a pileup in contesting, you'll probably do better at POTUS soda. If you are doing portable operating. I know the interesting thing is these guys in Qatar, and my late friend Rashid, Alpha 71 Alpha November, he was a big guy in the Qatar Amateur Radio Society. And they had this station, Alpha 73 Alpha. And they set up basically tents in the desert. And they set up portable operation there. It's wild. It's amazing. So, yeah, so it does help you. Let's see here. Thank you, Bill. And let's see here. Yeah, comments without StreamYard. Yeah, if you want the details, I could send you the details. Comments without StreamYard. Yeah, it's not that I don't want to pay for StreamYard. I'm just so fed up of StreamYard messing up my audio. I'll probably still do StreamYard with Cat for the Two Chicks in a Radio. But for my live stream, I'm going to do OBS because I can just do so much more with OBS. Okay? Let's see. Is there a CW contest next weekend? So there's a good resource to know which contest is on every weekend. And I'll see if I could bring it up. Contest calendar by WA7BNM. So contestcalendar.com. And with web browser. So I want to show you the web browser. Let's see. Google Chrome. Here we go. The only thing that sucks about OBS is that you have to kind of adjust the size of everything. All right? Okay. So yeah, contest calendar, right? If you go to contestcalendar.com, you'll see this here, and then you could do the 8-day calendar, and you'll see CQ Worldwide DX contest was this weekend. Then next weekend is the Ukrainian DX contest. Okay, that should be interesting. The sweepstakes contest is next weekend. Yes, you do have the sweepstakes contest, AWR sweepstakes, on November 6th, I guess, to November 8th. And yeah, so there's definitely that. So it's pretty interesting. Perpetual, you see, like in January, February, March, etc., going down. And state QSO parties. So you can see when the states have their QSO parties. So you could take part, right? So New Jersey is, September 18 to September 19. 1 year I think it was like 2017, I wanted to do a serious effort in the New Jersey QSO party, and I was already doing it. Then work called and said, yo, you have to come in. I'm like, for the love of God, really? And it was my freaking birthday, too. They made me work on my birthday, but I don't work there anymore. So they're an interesting place to work for, but I'm over them. But yeah, so this is pretty interesting. All right, let me switch back here. Yeah, so there is a CW contest next weekend, right? Okay. Let's see here. Kyle, K5YVY. I understand. If you're going to work, yep, you might be surprised you win something. That's true. I don't know what that is. Yo-yos? Okay. Yeah. Oh, the Worldwide Sideband Activity Contest. That's interesting. I think I should take part in that. That's I know there was generally one called the there used to be one on Thursday too, which is I'm not sure which one was that, but there was one on Thursday. So is it okay to live stream showing your frequency? So generally the answer is no. So you live stream, you try to hide your frequency because that might be considered self-spotting. The problem with putting your frequency on the air. So now some of these contest sponsors have kind of loosened their rules, saying that how in this special, so they make a special category for streaming. They said if you operate in this special category and you're streaming, you can have your stream. But at the same time, like Hayden, Ham Radio DX, he basically hid his frequency, which is the proper thing to do in a contest, because you don't want to basically do what you call self-spotting, which is where you show people where to find you on non-amateur means. So it's not, it's not proper to do that. All right, let's see here. Okay. Did I do much with T-TARS 9Y5 IND? I made contact with them. I think, I did make contact with them. I actually had Robbie on the show. I had him on the channel, so I have a video with him. He was there. I never knew him when I was in Trinidad, so, but, he's a good guy. I got two sources going on. Thank you much. Okay. Yeah, that is kind of weird. I need to just remove this one, and then I will, thanks for that tip. It's kind of weird. Yeah, like I said, OBS is really kind of, expert friendly. Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, Ape. What's going on? This Smoking Ape. Happy Halloween to you. And nice to see you here. And Thursday is a Feldhell net. Okay. It's cool. Howdy Mel. Okay. Alright, well, it's coming up this time here. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I have a few videos coming up I want to do. I have my long-standing museum video that I wanted to show. That's just pretty. It's a really cool museum I want to show you guys. It has all sorts of radio stuff, and I definitely have that in edit. That's coming up. Um, yeah, and like I said, thanks for the well wishes for my aunt. She has a complicated history, and basically her son really wasn't all that nice. So, but eventually he did make peace with her, and that's all that matters. And she's in a better place. Yeah, yeah. Okay, anime. I'm gonna show you how to tune the Yagi. I just gotta get round to it. All right, guys. 73. Nice to see a viewer from India. All right, guys. If you guys missed anything, there's always team replay. So please remember, if you're brand new here, be sure to like and subscribe. If you found this content interesting, please give me a thumbs up. And tell your friends to join us here on Live with Ria. All right, guys. M7IRJ, thank you. And thank you for helping me power through the technical snafus. I'm going to stage this live stream better next time so that we get it up better. But if you're interested in my comments module, I will show you. It's Aaron Parecki. It's pretty good. All right, guys. Have a good night, guys and gals. 73. Keep on having.